Hey guys, it's your girl Jenni Farley, and you are watching The Shmee Show.
Welcome back to the Shmee Show. Up next, we have our very special guest. Personally, I don't think she needs an introduction, but in case you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years, take a look. Jenni Farley, most famously known as JWOWW from the hit reality show Jersey Shore, needs no introduction. She has had an illustrious career over the last decade, and this is only the beginning. Although she's known best for being herself on MTV, she has her hands in the skincare, fitness, and retail empires. Calling her an entrepreneur does not do it justice. Jenni has over 18 million followers worldwide, and she says it herself, "A day does not go by where I don't think about how surreal that is." Outside of being a business mogul, she is a mother of two and the best friend you could ever ask for. Her glowing spirit and powerful work ethic proves that if you give her straw, she'll spin that shit into gold. Welcome to the Shmee Show, Jenni Farley!
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm so excited. First of all, thank you so much for carving out time from your very, very busy schedule to come on the Shmee Show.
Stop. Of course, I always support my friends, and I happen to love this Shmee Show. It's so cute. I see it on Instagram. I see your clips on YouTube. You're crushing it.
Thank you for coming from you, from like the queen of crushing it. That means a lot. So thank you. So for those who have been living under a rock for the past decade, if someone come up to you at a bar and they said, "Who are you?" How would you describe who Jenni is?
Jenni or JWOWW?
Do you is there a personality switch between the two?
There is, because I find the fans only know who JWOWW is. Even though I think Jersey Shore Family Vacation gets to show a little bit more behind the scenes of my family life and my Jenni life. But when we used to film, especially the original show, it was always JWOWW. So people come up to me expecting that loud, volatile, protective person. But at the end of the day, I'm very introverted, quiet, actually kind of like steer away from the cameras. Because I don't know, my dream is to be behind the scenes rather than in front of.
Which is how we know each other. And that's the person that I've come to know and absolutely just obsess about is Jenni. So yeah, so let's do that. Let's focus on Jenni. So if someone came up and said, "Who is Jenni?" How would you describe yourself?
Middle-aged mother. Truthfully speaking, most likely you will not see me out past 9 p.m. Quiet, introverted mom, always looking for like the next Disney vacation or Universal vacation. The simple, quiet life that it's just me, my kids, and Zach. It's nothing like it is on TV.
Totally. But again, nothing is, especially on a reality show where everything's edited and produced for a storyline. But we all know that. No one's like, "Oh my God, shocker. It's not real." One of the things about you that I just am so inspired by is you have this sort of entrepreneurial energy about you. And that is the theme of why I want to talk to you today, is how you literally took straw 10 years ago and you spun that shit into gold.
Aw, thank you.
Was this a game plan in your head when things started to take off and you're like, okay, how can I monetize this? How can I work this in my favor so I soak every little bit of this out?
Great question. Actually, it was before the show aired, season 1. Nobody knew what the show was going to be. I thought it was going to be very hi and goodbye. So the only reason why I went in the first season was to promote my nightclubs that I worked at. So I wore all my nightclub shirts. I had a bunch of different designs made. I created a website that people could go to. When the show then aired, I then started like creating at home natural weight loss products, and the slingback yellow shirt from season 1 and 3. I really was just like hustling because back then, before the show, I went to college and I always wanted to open up a graphic design business and have like a business with being an entrepreneur, because I was good, but I never was great. So I wanted to hire people that were better than me. And I wanted to be the middleman and wheeling and dealing. Like my father was a used car salesman. So I always had that in me. And by doing that, it transitioned really well into the show, with just naturally trying to find the next hustle, using it as a platform, but not solely having that as my source of income.
Totally. And you have your hands in so many different empires. Do you have any? Yeah. I mean, do you have any regrets? Were there any sort of business decisions in the past 10 years that you're like, that was a bad one, but it's a lesson that I took away from it?
A ton. I had a few that didn't work out right. And I had a few that could have, that I didn't utilize. I'll never forget sitting on my Facebook with 10 million followers and never utilizing it. Nicole being the one, Snooki being the one forcing me on Instagram. She literally signed me up to Instagram. And
no way.
8 million followers on Instagram. And I was just like, that's where my introverted side overtook my business side, where I was too introverted to put myself out there on those platforms that are so wildly huge. I mean, I had 10 million followers before they would put a limit on like how much your reach is. So I had organically always reaching 10 million followers, never used it. Cut to Nicole forcing my hand to be on Instagram. Those are two big regrets, that I didn't follow the trends soon enough. And I'm doing it now. I fucking hate Snapchat and the TikTok thing. And I know it's huge trends, and I know that it's important to be there. But again, like I also have this like internal fight of like, how much of me do I want to put out there? Because when you go down that rabbit hole of 4 or 5, 6 different networking sites, you literally can put your whole life on the internet. And I hold on to the whole, I don't want to put myself, unless I'm needing to put myself out there, which is my failure. But
here's, I don't see that. I see that as your power.
On Instagram, and there's a reach limit on Facebook, and you actually have to pay for your own reach. And at one point, 5, 6 years ago, I could put up a post and it would reach 15 million people organically. Now you're reaching 15,000. So it's just like one of those, like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't.
Totally. But it's funny because I see that as almost a glass half empty or glass half full, because you have the power in just your name alone to control your narrative in the way of, like you said, you now only need to go online when you feel the desire to. Your career isn't this huge dependent on being active on social media every single day. You're showing what you want to show, and you're in control of your fucking destiny. And a lot of people are always hustling, especially people who don't come from network fame. They come from Instagram fame, Snapchat fame, YouTube fame. They have to hustle so fucking hard all the time. You're like,
time job.
You know what? It's like 10 full-time jobs.
AJ would highly disagree, my friend AJ, because I put the brunt of my social media on him, because I don't understand it. I don't understand, like you said, the Instagram fame and the TikTok fame. And, we're literally learning TikTok together. Like it's so hard to figure out what's going to go viral and what's not.
So true.
My biggest argument to like the younger generation, when they're like, I want to just be Instagram famous or TikTok famous, it's like, that's not what you should want in life. No. What you should want is to organically find something you love, and then the rest will follow. So if you love for instance, my fiance's sister loves making slime, but she wants to be Instagram, TikTok famous. I say, put your slime on Instagram and TikTok. Put the process on there. Put how you create it. And I guarantee organically, you'll then get the followers that then will have one of your videos possibly go viral and you'll be known as that person. But don't just put yourself on to put yourself on, because I'm sure, like you see, a lot of people on social media platforms that do it to do it, they're either seen as fakes or it's very short-lived for them.
Yeah. Yeah. What has been the highlight of your career so far?
It's a good one. It's so petty, but I'm going to say it.
God. Oh, God.
Back in the day, we had no idea how popular we were because MTV never always controlled that narrative. They never wanted us to know. But one night after an awards show, I got wrecked at a nightclub and I was looking up, like, who is smoking behind me? Like a cigar, I think. And it was Leonardo DiCaprio. And we partied all night long. We took selfies. We hung out. Just total, like, cool guys. Was like rehearsing our lines from the show. And, you know, it was just one of those moments in time that, like, I wish I could freeze and relive every so often. Because that, you know, I didn't have a care in the world at that point, and a lot of those type of situations were happening. And, like, my inner, like, younger kid, like, my TRL kid was screaming on the inside.
I love that. Okay, well, here on the Shmee Show, we also have to do the other side of the coin. So what has been the lowest point in your career, and how did you find the light to come out of that?
Lowest point is having, especially being on reality TV, is just always having your tea out there, literally. Like, you going through a divorce, going through a breakup, any of it, like, even like an argument, even giving a speech at a wedding can be turned into a year-long nightmare.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, just exposed for the world to see, where you can't even, like, heal properly. So there's definitely, like, a tug, and that's why I'm so quiet on social media and I don't go the extra mile. My roommates, they'll go the extra mile. They love it. Some of them just absolutely love it. And I am envious of that. But at the same time, I appreciate my like, internal struggle of just wanting to be home.
I mean, totally. That's, again, I think why you and I have clicked, is that we are those homebodies. Like, yeah, you can see me at the clubs in the city, and me going off at all these circuit parties. But most of the time I'm putting on a performance because I'm like, okay, it is 1 o'clock. We got to wrap this sucker up. I need to be in bed. So I totally get it. So another question that I want to ask you is, so you talked about what your life was like before your fame. So say that didn't happen and it is now 2021. What do you think your sliding glass door life would be like? And would you have been able to find true happiness looking back had your life not gone this way?
It's the number one question I ask myself too, because I was going to school for animation. I had JWOWW designs for graphic design. But you know as well as I do, trying to be an entrepreneur and live on your own or not live on your own, or just trying to make a name for yourself, is so incredibly difficult. Yeah. So I would have that, then the peer pressure of the Long Island nightclub scene that I was raveled in, and just, you know, I was a partier back then. I'm always curious, like, where the hell, probably in a gutter somewhere.
Oh, come on.
I can't, for the life of me, figure out where I would be in life. I would love to watch that movie, though, if they made a movie like The Sliding Door. Just see the other option in life. Just, I would like to take a peek.
I know.
Just a little peek.
Like, right? It's like, okay, that's enough. We can move on now. What message, if you had a tombstone that defines your life, what would your mantra or your message be when you leave this plane of existence?
One day you'll figure it the fuck out.
That's it.
Might not be today or tomorrow, but
Yeah.
one day it'll all make sense and you'll figure it out.
Totally. That was actually a brilliant fucking answer. You just recently opened your own retail space in the new mall right by me. Let's talk about it. Tell me everything about from where you got the name, why you decided to open this retail space, and what your dream situation would be for your store.
The name Heavenly Flower actually came from my daughter. She was named after Bethany Maylani Hamilton, the woman that lost her arm to a shark. They made a movie about her.
Yes.
Maylani's her middle name, and I wrote it down years ago, way before my daughter was obviously conceived. We were on a show together on Fox, and it was just beautiful. And her mother said it's Heavenly Flower, it's Chinese and Hawaiian. So right there, I knew that's, if I was to ever have a daughter, that would be her name. Fast forward, Milani and I did a few Fashion Nova mother-daughter looks. And we do them, and I love them. But during that, Milani always said, like, Mommy, I would love to have this with you. Like, just not with Fashion Nova. Like, I want it, like, with you. And I took the kids to the new American Dream Mall. We went to the Nickelodeon place, had a blast.
Yes.
But Grayson by accidentally peed his pants.
Oh, no.
We're at Nickelodeon, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And one of the, like, CFOs or something of the mall was there, and they're like, let me take you to the back, and I'll show you where, like, the children's place is. And I'm like, great. And I started, like, walking the mall, because normally I wouldn't do that with the kids. And they were waiting at Nickelodeon, and I'm walking, and I saw a lot of very unique stores. Like, not the normal, like, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's. And they're like, oh, these are, like, one-year pop-ups. These are small businesses that, bought the retail space, and that's when it just clicked. And I'll never forget this, because I said this to my manager. I said, it was easier opening up a huge store in the American Dream Mall than it was to get discount on furniture for my living room. Like, it was just meant to be. The mall made it so incredibly easy. Yeah. We had it open within 3 to 4 months while my furniture was still on standby. And it's been phenomenal ever since. And honestly, I'm taking it one day at a time, though, because I don't have, like, a plan. Milani, this is actually from the store. We just took a photo. Milani just took photos of her outfits, and we're just going to figure it out. Retail's hard. Having a retail space and employees is harder. But, we're here to at least try it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another reason why you inspire me, is you want to get your hands dirty on so many different things. And you're thinking, like, life is too short. Let's just give this a shot. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. I can die peacefully knowing I tried.
That's it.
Besides your family, besides your career, what thing in your life brings you the most joy?
You're going to actually know this after the fact. Scary movies. Scary movies. Scary TV shows, scary movies. Backstory to that is when I was 10 years old, before VHS, they used to make these things called betas. It was actually smaller than VHS.
I think I remember those.
So my dad used to have a shit ton of boxes of them in the attic. And the attic was, like, connected to my bedroom upstairs. So I used to steal his beta player and the beta tapes and watch all the original scary 70s and 80s movies, from Freddy Krueger to just everything, and scare the shit out of me. And then I would have these nightmares. I couldn't tell my dad because he would kill me if he found out. So then I used to have to like break the nightmares down so I could be okay with it. And then fast forward, I loved these movies so much because then I broke down the fear of them. So then I was like, oh, like I want to do that. I want to be that actor. I would have screamed differently here. I would have did this and I would have did that. So it just became like this fantasy of creating my own horror movies and watching them all and watching what works and what doesn't.
It's funny that answered my next question, which was I was going to bring up the scary movies. So let's hop into that. What is your favorite scary movie?
I don't have one. I have different ones for different reasons. So Paranormal Activity is good, and the original, not the ones made after 2 and 3. They were awful. But one, just what it was, psychological thriller. You have no idea what's going on. Low budget. They really did wonders with just the psychological aspect. Then you have Scream being a very sticky, like hometown murderer, and in the 90s with Nev Campbell was just very iconic in that time. And then you have the one with the, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden, the one with like the little clown on the bike. Why am I not remembering?
Oh, wait, what, It?
No. It's going over my head. I don't even know. They were like my favorite movies.
Bike. I don't
like,
know. Saw.
Saw. Yeah. Saw. So then you have that psychological aspect of where you're not killing people, but you're allowing people to choose their own deaths. And so I love them for their own like genres or their own setups, but I also love them for the fact that they're not CGI, they're not over the top, they're not like, it's more the storyline. Anything with a good storyline.
Yeah. Because you're recently reading Stephen King's book about how to write it. Yeah. And when you shared that with me, I was like, you're on the right track. Because Stephen King is one of my favorite authors, alone just for the writing. But the fucking stories.
In the book, not the movie, Gerald's Game, I could never finish in the book. Because it freaked me out so much, just how intense his writing was. Yeah. I ended up later on going back recently, within the last 2 years, and watched the movie on it. And I was like, they didn't do the book justice. Because I got through the movie just fine. That book, the way he can write, mind-blowing. But if you can write
my favorite.
You can actually translate it into movies. So I was using that as a guide to like, if I was to write out a script or write something out, how will I translate that?
Totally. My favorite Stephen King book/movie is It, because the storyline just, like, I get chills when I think about it. Because, again, it comes off like, oh, a killer clown. I'm like, oh, there are fucking layers to this story.
Yeah, and how he writes it. And he talks about in his writing book how that junkyard was in the backyard of one of his houses. Wow. Like, he took a lot of personal experiences that he had gone through as a kid and translated them to It, Gerald's Game, and other types of writings that he did. But they all stem from his life.
I love it. And so why do you feel like no one knows this about you? Because I feel like you never share your love of horror online.
That's the other thing. Like, I don't know when I'm ready to. I don't know, like, when that will be. Again, it's very hard to transition from the reality world to being like, hey, I have an opinion on something else. You get typecast. So, that being said, you know, if JWOWW from the Jersey Shore has an opinion on horror, it's like nobody wants to see that. Yet. Yeah.
You and I were like, we know what we're talking about. All right, Jenni. Well, thank you so much for, again, carving out some time to come on the Shmee Show. I had a great time talking to you today.
Always. I appreciate you having me.
Is there anything you want to plug before we head out?
Nope. I just love you and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day, Jenni. Bye.
You too.